Leach. I graduated from Columbia Seminary in 1972. It took a year, but I was ordained in June of 1973 as a campus minister at Georgia Tech. Well, first let me say that I was born into and came from a Presbyterian church. The pastor of that church in Chattanooga, Tennessee was Dr. Cowser, Charlie Cowser, who was a professor here at that time, father. So Charlie was a youth in my church as I was growing up. My intention was to be in Christian education, not an MDiv. I didn't know anything about any of that. So I come here with the intention of majoring in Christian education. But it didn't take long. My hair was long. I had contact lenses. I wore mini skirts, a girl on the move. So I was walking across campus one day, and one of the guys in my class stopped me on the sidewalk and began to read to me from the Bible, from various passages of Paul, saying that women should be silent and why was I here? And I had no idea that anybody would think this. I was a child of the church. I grew up in the church. I was baptized in the church. My parents were married in that church. So I had no reason not to think I shouldn't be there. I'm not even sure what I said, but I realized later on that I was going to have to change my major from Christian education to a Master's of Divinity on the spot. There were about 5 women when I came. It was about 15 or so when I graduated. So I was one of those early ones. In fact, I was the 21st woman ordained in the old Southern Presbyterian Church. Most of the boys that were here were from the South, many of them from very conservative schools, colleges. By the time I was a senior, I'd seen the handwriting on the wall about women. And I remember after pastoral care course or 2 in my second year that I would literally go in my bathroom. There was 2 of us in Simon's Law, which is now an office building. And we shared a suite and a bathroom. I would go in the bathroom in the morning, look in the mirror, and I would say, "You are not the crazy one. They are the crazy ones. You go out there and learn." That was my big deal. I wanted to learn stuff. I would tell all the professors, "I'm going to sit on the front row in the front seat, and you're going to talk to me." So I was grateful for all the amazing professors we had. But my senior year, we were on the quarter system at that point, and so it was probably second or third quarter. We were divided up again into small groups, and there were 3 women at this point. Renee Huey, who had to take a year off to be with her father in his illness, and a Methodist woman named Mary Jones. She was my suite mate. And so we were divided up among these small groups, and I think the purpose of these groups were to get us ready to graduate and accept a call. But when we met, some of the guys that had been the most obstinate in class came in and they would throw down another call. "Oh, I got another call today." So I'm sitting here in my class. Fortunately, the professor was Milt Revere. He was a Christian educator, but he was also a small group leader. And so they would talk, and he would ask questions, and we would discuss, and usually I was cut off mid-sentence, basically not paid attention to. By now, you would think I would have been used to that. But I'm a senior now, and I'm single, and I'm looking at graduation. And so they would just come in and throw these, and I knew good and well they had not picked up a book the entire time. So I was really angry about that. Anyway, at some points I would try to say something and they wouldn't listen. And so I would get angry. So I was often known as the angry one. Well, Milt Revere finally had had enough, and he said to this particular group, "The reason she gets angry is you don't listen to her. If you listened to her, she would have no reason to be angry." dead silence. And I thought, finally, somebody gets it. It's not that I don't have anything to say, or what I have to say is unimportant or silly or girlish. It's just I can't say it and be heard. And I think for most of us, particularly when more women began to come, it was just sheer persistence and tenaciousness, which were not words. Usually anger was the word used, not tenacious. So we begin to see ourselves as tenacious. The third story is about our favorite book, which I have carried with me since 1974. It was a book of baseball cards. I'm going to open it up. Written by, produced by, I guess, Diane Tennis. After I finished and was at Georgia Tech, I was let go because they couldn't raise my salary from $7,000, the Presbyterian minimum, to $11,000, the new Presbyterian minimum. Anyway, I had to leave. And so Diane Tennis came about 1973 when there was some restructure, and she came from the Northern Church, and she came with her walking boots on, long, tall, white walking boots, except she was only 5 feet tall. So it was wonderful. So I would often go down to 341 Ponce, to Leon, where the Southern Presbyterian Church offices were at that time. Anyway, I would go up the second floor, and so Diane called me one day and said, I need help. We don't know where the women's seminary students are. We don't even know how many. Nobody's keeping records. Will you come help? So I said, sure. So there I was on the floor of our office. We spread out what we knew we had, because everything at that time was done through presbyteries. So I said, well, this is all we have. And I had been ordained at this point in June of '73, and I was the 21st ordained. So we knew me. We knew up to me, at least in the Southern Church. And she knew a lot of the Northern Church women because she was ordained in 1959. So she said, I know what we'll do. We'll just call every seminary we know. And so we literally picked up the phone, only thing available, and we called every seminary we knew in the United States of America and said, do you have Presbyterian students there, women students? Who are they? And can we get in contact with them? Everything was done by mail or phone at that point. So Diane says, we're going to collect these baseball cards. We're going to call them baseball cards, and we're going to get the woman's name, where she's serving, the date of her ordination, and a small paragraph about where she's serving or hopes to serve at this point. So here you are. This was started in 1973, published in 1974, and it has both women from the Northern Church and the Southern Church. I'm grateful to still have this book. We sent it to churches, we sent it to presbyteries, we sent it to seminaries, we sent it to anybody who had sent their information in, and hopefully a picture. For me, the part that I love most is many of these women have died. And so this is their record. And in particular, Joyce Tucker died recently, and she came after me, but she was one of the early women and did a lot for theological education. So this is the baseball card book, and I'm grateful that people are interested in it. Again, I don't know who has a copy of it. I have my copy. So now, Columbia Seminary is graciously wanting your stories as well. So I would encourage you to fill out the form, especially those of us who are early, but any woman who's graduated from seminary, we all have stories. So please fill out the form that's available to you and share your stories of what it was like to be a student here. And so we can have a record of that for future generations.